So as we sometimes do, this is the end of day update for AMC, looking at what happened throughout the day. And realistically, it was a pretty eventful day. Looking at the charts, we can see how things went. Again, it was looking very positive for the majority of the day, or at least for the morning portion I should say, as things swiftly changed. Again, this morning we saw us open up with a massive gap up, and then an immediate run. We've been seeing this trend for a couple of days, I do recall, and again this time the run took us to the $18 mark, and again pushed way past that, hitting highs according to TradingView around the 1833 mark. Now again, these gains were short-lived, and we quickly had a big step down. First coming down to the 18 range, then lower than that at the 1770s, then the 70s, 60s, 50s, all the way down to the absolute lows that we saw at 1712. And astonishingly, we went even lower than that towards the end of day, finishing at the $16 range. So clearly a pretty negative day for AMC, and a pretty disappointing day for a lot of people, as it was looking just so positive this morning. It was looking like we were in for another major run, potentially looking at being up by 11+% in the morning. Now again, this did change, but realistically the 5-day trend is still looking very bullish, which is always a good thing. Now the charts don't matter too much because this is not a technical or a fundamental play for most people, it is a short squeeze play. But if you do want to know about the data and the chart patterns that we have been seeing, well, here we go. Anyway, the other key thing which I want to highlight to you guys so far is going to be the trend in the post-market hours. These haven't been very good, and we can see if we can quickly highlight. We'll just have a look at these figures here. Again, 1686, so coming deep down into that 16 range, losing about 14 cents so far. And it has only been an hour. Now, one key point is Friday. Friday is obviously tomorrow, where we're going to be having a look at more data. Again, probably going to be looking at the options tomorrow as well, because that could, be influential, or at least the price could be influential to the options and of course what we see on that front. But other key details which I want to share with you are coming up, such as the generalized market trend, which is looking fairly okay, to be honest with you. On the US markets, we've seen the Dow, the S&P and the Nasdaq all finish up, not by too much, 0.5% on the Dow, about 1% on the S&P, and the Nasdaq finishing by just over 1.3%. Now we looked at a article, I think it was in our last uploaded video, which was of course this one, where we talked about how this site FX Street thinks that AMC is looking to see more runs up, and this is based on the market conditions coming back for a run up, i.e. crypto is not doing too badly, the markets appear to be doing a bit of a rebound at the moment. We'll have to see if that sticks though, but again, yeah, I've said this before, there's not really much room for AMC to the downside. Again, I said this at $12, I said it at $10, but I'll also say at $15 or $17 where we are now. Really, 17 is quite low compared to the 72 high. There's not much more that you can do to bring this stock down, as it is closer to 0 than it is to 72. And subsequently, most apes aren't scared at this point. Now, other key details, we have the data from Stonko Tracker, which shows us the current figures. Now, calls in the money are going to be about 22,000, exactly almost. We're seeing calls expiring in the money on the 22nd, which is tomorrow. 46.9k, almost 47 exactly. Now shares available to borrow, 500k, that's a 7.6 borrow rate according to these guys, and we can see the trend throughout the day when it comes to things like trading volume. Again, the first hour, as you would expect, very large trading volume, as we had that big run up, but it's been fairly low volume for the majority of the day post that. And that's one thing that apes always highlight. Why does it take so much volume to run us up and so little volume to bring us down? And I do find it quite astonishing myself. But anyway, let's move on to the next piece that we have to look at, and this is coming from JD Ruckus, who is of course the Ortex guy on Reddit, and he has posted this. Ortex guy here with your closing bell update for today. SI and shares on loan continue to rise. Utilization is at 100% since Feb. Current mood is called Wall Street because the investors are dumb as bricks. Now let's have a look at the actual data itself. Key details include the cost to borrow from the minimum to the maximum. The minimum's at 9.25 and the maximum at 11, with the average at 10.02. Return shares 928k, borrowed shares 3.2 million. So of course more borrowed than returned, giving us a borrowed change of 2.3 million. Other key figures that we're going to want to look at are on this page over here, where we can see the estimated SI from a value. Again, that's 1.68 billion. Again, that's up by 18% from 7 days ago, and all the other figures do appear to be rising from the past 7 days too. Estimated SI of free float is up by 2%, free float on loan as a percentage up by 4%. Shares on loan are also up by 4% too, and we can see, if we're looking at other key details, if you want to know, days to cover on loan, 1.87% increase. But the cost to borrow has indeed fallen, on average by about 14.77%, and one thing which is not changing and hasn't changed for over 100 days, very key detail, it's been a very long time since this data has changed, but we are still looking at a utilization figure of 100%. We were looking at this 7 days ago, so of course 0% change. Anyway, that is the rundown of what we're seeing for AMC today. It's been, again, fairly eventful, fairly interesting, and somewhat shocking if you ask me, to see how far this one did come down. Now again, options, regardless of how big the numbers are at that high end, the closer we finish to the high side, i.e. what we have seen this week, if not above, the better it will be. But as we've seen before, especially after a great week that we have had, I'm a bit reluctant to say that AMC will do well on Friday, because we know how options kind of have been pinned, or allegedly have been pinned in the past. So, you know, as much as I'd love to say this one has a lot of potential to run tomorrow, of course, technically it does on the charts, fundamentally it does because we're having more and more great updates, and of course, realistically it does. But we live in a market, or at least we operate in a market, where the realistic facts don't seem to matter too much. And it's more about who knows who. So again, key details going forwards into next week as well. Going to want to see the market stay up. We're going to want to see those figures continue to rise when it comes to the available share, or rather the free float cost to borrow, I should say, if you'll forgive me. Yeah, the cost to borrow needs to increase. That's what we want to see. We have been seeing that over time. Again, it's falling a little bit from where it was previously, but not by too much, and it is now coming back from those lows. And yeah, I think we're in a great place. Again, not really too long to go now, being as we're on the 21st of July, not too long to go at all until AMC's earnings, and of course, Adam Aaron's big pounce, as he calls it, should be coming out at that time, or around that time. So again, really looking forward to the next month. As I've said before, personally, I have held for the best part of a year, probably more, so I don't really have much of a problem holding a little bit longer. So we'll have to see what Friday does bring, guys. Again, thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, of course, make sure to hit that subscribe button. As usual, it is a goodbye for now, and I will see you all tomorrow with some more updates regarding AMC and the wider markets as a whole.